Alright guys, so for this video I think it's important to get this stuff out of the way pretty quick, but the regrets that I have from biking across America, they're not necessarily something that matters, but when you are deciding to do this type of trip or adventure, I think these are two pretty key factors that you need to understand yourself and be able to decide before you go into it. So first thing that I really do regret is the mentality I had for the trip. When I initially wanted to do the biking trip, I wanted to be able to have the title of saying that I rode a mountain bike, specifically a 26-inch hardtail mountain bike, across America in whatever, record time that I could set. That just puts a whole lot of unnecessary stress on yourself to do that. Unless you really are out there to try and set some sort of record and you've got like a team behind you and you're fully prepared and dedicated to be able to ride in any weather condition and to really set this sort of record, it's not worth it. For me, maybe the first week or week and a half of the trip, I was really stressing myself because I wanted to keep up with these distances that we had set each day, and I wanted to try and beat these times or whatever. But then the problem I was having was we'd run into rainstorms or something, and I didn't want to cheat. I didn't want to cheat myself out of it. But it was either wait half a day and then be behind, or just hop in the van, drive through the other side of the rainstorm, and then keep going. And for me and John, I think it was easier to hop in the van, but I was destroying myself mentally because I had this idea that, I was cheating or whatever. I was cheating myself. But then I think by the end of the second week, I really, came to the conclusion that I was out there for an adventure. I mean, that's what the whole nonprofit was about anyways, was having adventures. So, I'm still young. Eventually, maybe I'll go out and actually try and set a record. I'll get a full-on, professional team behind me, and they'll be able to support me every step of the way, and we can, go out to set some sort of record. But for now, that's not really a goal of mine. I think I had a lot more fun, too, especially by the last 2 or 3 weeks after we left my uncle's house in Colorado. Me and John just had a really fun time. We just kind of made it up as we went everywhere we stayed. The last 2 weeks especially, we started staying in a lot of Walmart parking lots because we were not necessarily too lazy to go find churches or campgrounds to stay in, but it just was easy, and whatever. It was just whatever. It didn't really matter what we did. We were just having a good time, and we were exploring, and every day we're in another place and we're seeing new things. We even took one day to go all the way up to Yellowstone Park. That was like a 200-mile drive. It was entirely out of our way, but we had just gone through the Flaming Gorge in southwestern Wyoming, and then I could see a massive thunderstorm coming up, and I basically was like, screw it, I don't want to ride through this. So I got in the van with John. We went to some world famous Little America or someplace, a really famous gas station, and then from there we were just eating ice cream, and then I don't remember exactly whose idea it was, but we basically said, screw it, we're taking the rest of the day off, and we're going to drive up to Yellowstone, go see Old Faithful, have a good time. So that probably was one of the more amazing parts of the trip, once you kind of just let go of that mentality of, oh, I got to be somewhere, I got to do this, whatever, I'm not going to set the title, I'm not going to be in the record books. First off, there is no record books, so you're not going to really hold some kind of medal. You're not going to have something to wear or put on your wall. But, for me and John, it just made more sense to go have fun and explore. So when we drove up to Yellowstone, I think it took us a day and a half, 2 days to get there or whatever. We ended up sleeping basically in Yellowstone Park. We woke up the next day, and it was kind of funny. It was a coincidence that we were up there on July 4th. So we got to explore Yellowstone Park on the 4th of July. Then we drove back down through Jackson, Wyoming, and then out the mountain pass into Idaho. And then we just ended up in the place that we should have been if I had been biking through that rainstorm. But since we decided, to say screw it to the rainstorm, we just ended up, skipping a day of riding basically. But it was totally worth it. I think we had a lot more fun. And it's not like going on a biking trip means that you literally have to stay on your bicycle every foot that you go. If you get off your bike, oh no, you've broken your own rules, you're not doing the adventure like you said you were going to. Like, no, we just let that mentality just dissipate probably after Indiana. That's where I really just kind of gave up on that and said that I was going to just enjoy the adventure. So, other than getting your mentality straightened out before you even get on the adventure, figuring out whether or not you want to do it to set some sort of record, or you just want to do it to have a fun time. The only other major regret that I have, which isn't even that major, it's every person's decision, but for me, I think I would have had a lot more fun if I had done this trip basically with John on a bicycle right beside me. Having friends with you to actually ride with you every day has got to be a lot more fun than doing it alone. I'm not saying that I didn't have fun by myself because, for the 10 hours a day that I was really riding my bicycle, I was alone all that time, and I had earbuds in, I'm listening to music every step of the way. I had fun, it's a lot of time to yourself, it's a lot of spiritual time, or whatever you want to call it. You use that time however you want. But I think I would have had a little more fun if I had people to experience it with every day. There was 2 separate days that I think I ran into groups of cyclists. I ran into a group of 5 people that were traveling west, a little different route, and they were taking a lot longer than me, but it was kind of cool to see them, and they were so laid back when I saw them that made me pretty jealous right away, because I was still during that time when I was in that mentality of trying to set some sort of record. So to see them, I was slightly jealous that they were having fun and I was out there trying to push myself or whatever. But then was it a couple days later, I ran into a group called Bike and Build, which is a pretty large organization. I ran into them. They were all passing me throughout the day because they're on faster bicycles. And then I caught up to them, and I got to ride with them for basically half a day. And it was just a really cool experience to ride with other people, especially people that are touring like yourself. You go out through these towns and you may encounter other cyclists that are just riding around their local routes that they always do. But then to come across somebody else that's also traveling across the country is quite incredible. I've actually seen some articles about people that were biking across America by themselves, and then they end up finding somebody else that's biking across America, and then the two of them bike across the country together for the rest of the trip. They decide they're going to stay together. So I think that would have been a cool experience for me, is just to be with somebody else the entire time. Yes, I had John with me, and he was in the van, but we weren't together the entire trip, and I think it would have been a lot more fun if him or somebody else was with me 24/7 throughout the entire trip. I think exploring the countryside, going through new places all the time would have been a lot more fun if somebody was literally right there beside you all day every day. So other than that, having somebody with you, doing it alone, choosing whether or not you want to set a record or if you're just doing it for fun, there's not really any other regrets I have. Maybe regretting some of the equipment I brought, bringing other equipment, forgetting stuff at home. Other than that, there's not really much else that you can criticize, because either way, you're going to have an adventure, and it's going to be exciting. It's new. Anything new is exciting and fun. Basically, I think even if every other little bit of the trip went wrong, even if every piece on my bicycle broke, I think I still would have had an amazing time. I know people that have had their bikes stolen and they still ride across the country. They get a new bike, and it's just that kind of that adventure mindset of you're going to find a way to get through whatever troubles you face, whatever challenges come against you. You're going to find a way to get through it, and it's the fact that you're able to overcome any obstacle that was put in your way, such as just doing the trip itself, going over mountains, traveling super long distances. Any and all of that is a challenge, and to see yourself come from wherever you started to where you finish, it's quite a gratifying experience that you can't really measure against anything else. So I'd highly recommend doing a bike trip, or any type of long range adventure that's not under the power of a car. I mean, maybe a car can be fun too, I can't say that for sure, but you know, doing any sort of adventure like this where you're seeing yourself travel a long distance, I think that's one of the most amazing experiences a person can have on this planet and beyond that. So, you know, I don't think anyone should take anything that I just said too seriously, other than, you know, maybe consider some of those factors ahead of time before they do the adventure. But yeah, overall, it's super fun, and I would definitely do it again if I can in the near future or later on in my life. I definitely want to do another trip. So there you go. Those are my 2 regrets, and yeah, check out the next video.